right. It looks
All right.
like we are back.
Yep.
Yes. All righty.
Sweet.
All right. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. And we're back. And those of you listening, you didn't even know we were gone.
What?
So tonight, Derek is going to be talking about... Yeah. Now that was some rockin' rockin' theme song.
The awesome tones of Crush 40, who did quite a few of the vocal tracks, specifically the main themes for a lot of the 3D Sonic game. That one, Open Your Heart, is easily my favorite out of all the ones that they've done. They've even got full albums with just their Sonic music on it.
Yeah, I was
really
reading
cool
about that when I was capturing the music.
Yeah, it's really good. So I'm glad you picked that song. But this is a review that I feel like I should have done a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about the 20-year anniversary of the Dreamcast. I remember it hit me during the show. I was like, oh, I should have reviewed Sonic Adventure because it was a launch title for it and was pretty popular back when it first came out. So better late than never. This week, I will be reviewing Sonic Adventure, which is a 1998 platform game for Sega's Dreamcast, and the first main Sonic the Hedgehog game to feature three-dimensional gameplay, which that has not been without its criticism and controversy, which some of it, which I will get into with my review, is well-founded, I will admit. But there are some things to really take away from this game from positive aspect. I remember getting a Dreamcast specifically for this game because I was a big Sonic fan. Nintendo is still, my go-to. Like I will always take Nintendo over everything else. But I have a soft spot in my heart for the Sonic franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't get enough Sonic back in the day. Back in the mid 90s when you had Sonic in his prime in 2D with Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 coming out, you had two different cartoon series, you had comic book. So Sonic was very well known in mainstream culture back in that time. And Mario 64 had came out, and we've talked about how great that game was and the great transition from 2D to 3D that Mario had.
Yeah.
Sonic struggled a bit with that. So first I'll talk about a little bit about the actual game itself. So the story of the game, which is one of the positives, Dr. Robotnik seeks a new way to defeat his longtime nemesis Sonic and conquer the world. During his research, he learns about an entity called Chaos, a creature that thousands of years ago helped to protect the Chao and the all-powerful Master Emerald, which balances the power of the 7 Chaos Emeralds. When a tribe of echidnas sought to steal the power of the emeralds, breaking the harmony they had with the Chao, Chaos retaliated by using the emerald's power to transform into a monstrous beast known as Perfect Chaos, and wipe them out. But before it could destroy the world, Tikal, a young echidna who befriended Chaos, imprisoned it in the Master Emerald along with herself. And then you cut to arguably hundreds, maybe thousands of years later. Robotnik breaks out Chaos from the Master Emerald and hopes to use him to defeat Sonic and take over the world. So this was the first Sonic game that really had a lot of backstory to it. When you think of the 2D games, you just run through the various zones, you rescue little woodland animals, and you beat Robotnik at the end of every stage. I love the story of this game. It's been adapted in cartoons, it's been adapted in the comics, and dare I say, and I was kind of saving this review for when the movie comes out, because I think if you're going to make a Sonic movie, this would be a great adaptation because it's got good character development. It's got, the natural hero versus villain aspect, and it's got some really cool cutscenes in it. So the story, to me, I would dare say, is my favorite of any of the Sonic games. I love the Chaos character. I like that you actually get to see development with the other characters that you wouldn't have seen in the 2D games.
It says here it came
Where
out. It was ported to the GameCube in 2003 as Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut. I knew I had seen this before in a GameCube case.
Yes, so the GameCube version is actually the one that I've been playing in preparation of doing this review, because I couldn't really justify buying a Dreamcast. I know it might be hypocritical of me to say, because I got the Dreamcast back in the day for Sonic Adventure.
Yeah.
But I already had a GameCube, so I figure I'll, pick up Sonic Adventure DX. I think it was like $15.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really all that expensive. And, I bought the director's cut when it came out, which to me actually is not as good as the original one. Some of the technical problems that I have with it, this game was created in Japan. The dubbing from Japanese to English is atrocious.
Really?
It is really, really bad. And I wish it was something that they would have fixed for the GameCube release, but they didn't. I could kind of justify it on the Dreamcast a little bit because it was the first game. There were a lot of things to be ironed out, but to not fix it for the GameCube version, to me, was inexcusable.
Yeah.
There will be times where, the character will finish their dialogue and their mouse will still be moving a good 2 to 3 seconds after they're done. It's really bad. It is really bad. The camera controls in this game are really frustrating. You pretty much have an auto camera. You can use it manually to move, from left to right or to go around your character, but it's so glitchy that it's really frustrating. And that was, again, something that they didn't fix in the GameCube version.
And that was something that was really a problem around this time when this game came out, was camera and how to move around in a 3D environment. They hadn't quite mastered that technology yet. I mean, even Super Mario 64 had its camera problems. Like, this was just the era of bad use of camera. Like, they just didn't quite have a grasp on it yet.
Well, the thing that I'll add to that is that's something that plagued the Sonic franchise throughout its entire 3D run. The camera wasn't that much better for Sonic Adventure 2. It was okay during Generations. I remember it not being that big of an issue. It still was a little glitchy, but, Sonic is one of those things, and I know we've touched on it before, is that, to me, Sonic belongs in a 2D environment. I still would love for them to add cutscenes to flesh out story like they do with Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2, or really even any of the 3D games, but still maintain that 2D aspect of it. In a lot of the modern Sonic games, they've done kind of a blend with 2D and 3D, which kind of works, but I still prefer the straight up, 2D Sonic games.
Yeah. I mean, I could see, like you said, if they do some sort of, if they could really work out the hybrid aspects of it, like have sort of like an overworld type of thing where you move around, go to different places, collect, information for or whatever throughout the game, but then you go to a 2D, like the world kind of moves to a 2D aspect, and that's when you do all the fast running and all that kind of stuff. Like, I think that could work.
Yeah. No, I think it could definitely work that way. Excuse me. But kind of backtracking a bit to the story, what makes this game unique is that you play as 6 different characters through this game. So it's one story through 6 different points of view. And the 6 characters you play as are, of course, Sonic the Hedgehog, Tails, Knuckles the Echidna, Amy Rose, E102 Gamma, who is a robot that Robotnik builds as part of his E100 series, and a character that is pretty much universally despised in the Sonic world. His name is Big the Cat. So with the 6 different characters, there's different aspects that change the gameplay a little bit, which for the most part I like. I know a lot of Sonic fans don't, but it doesn't really bother me. So as Sonic, you pretty much just get through the level. You know, there's some speed aspects to it. There's some platforming as well. It's pretty much straightforward. You start at the beginning, and at the end, you either collect the Chaos Emerald or you break the giant contraption that holds the little woodland animals. With Tails, you do a condensed version of that, but you race Sonic to get to the end of the level. With Knuckles, you're trying to recover broken pieces of the Master Emerald. So it's not really a linear type of zone. You're in this kind of central hub area, and you try and find 3 pieces per zone of the Master Emerald. With Amy, you're being chased by this giant robot named Zero. With E102 Gamma, it's an old game, so spoilers aren't really a big deal. Yeah. With Gamma, in the beginning, you're working for Robotnik, but he rebels, and for the rest of the game, you fight the other E100 series and you destroy them. And then, as Big the Cat, you fish for a frog. Which the frog actually plays an integral part in the story, because at the beginning of the game, Chaos, it doesn't really describe what Chaos is, but he's basically like this creature made out of water. A section of Chaos is lost, and the frog, whose name is Froggy, basically drinks up Chaos thinking that it's water, and ends up growing a tail and is possessed by Chaos. So it runs away from Big, and you have to fish for him. It's literally like a fishing game, which is so jarring from the rest of the game. Yeah. Thankfully, it's the shortest aspect of the entire game, and it's something that whenever I play through this game, I always save his story for last, because I don't really like doing it, because it's so different and not like Sonic at all. But thankfully, it's the shortest part. There's only 4 stages, and then I think 1 boss battle that you do that's extremely short. That's really the really negative parts of it, as I mentioned, are the camera. The controls are a little dicey, because the camera doesn't really help as far as seeing where you're able to go, and you can die because of it.
Yeah.
And funny enough, the controls were actually a little worse, I think, from what I remember, in the GameCube version than it was in the Dreamcast. It's funny because the Dreamcast version, I feel like, is a superior game, even though the GameCube version has a little bit better graphics, but in a way, it's like they kind of put a shiny coat of paint on it. Mm-hmm. But I still very much enjoy the GameCube game. And this game, it got good praise when it came out. It says here, reception as the first fully 3D Sonic platform game, Sonic Adventure was highly anticipated. It received critical acclaim, and some critics called it one of the greatest video games of all time, which is crazy to think about. It is the best-selling Dreamcast game. By August 4th of 2006, it had sold 2.5 million copies, including just under 500,000 in Japan and 1.27 in the United States. And some of the scores it got, Game Revolution gave it 3.5 stars. GameSpot gave it a 9.2 out of 10. IGN gave it an 8.6 out of 10, which IGN, I believe, let me see here. Oh yeah, it says here the audio received mixed responses. GameSpot and Game Revolution called the full motion video cutscenes and voice acting well produced and fitting, though GameSpot noted poor lip syncing. IGN thought the cutscenes were repetitive and voiced strong disapproval of the voice acting, declaring it a complete joke and downright awful. IGN had a particular distaste for Tails' voice and retrospectively called it among the most annoying to feature in a video game. I wouldn't go that far. All game was conflicted. They appreciated Tails' portrayal, but found Sonic and Knuckles' voices unfitting. GameSpot and All Game praised the rock-style music, but Game Revolution described the score as absolutely horrible. I disagree with the score comment 100%. And that's something that's been consistent with all the Sonic games, is the music has been really good.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, some of the tracks, because each character has basically a theme song, most of them I think are fitting. I mean, some aren't really my style. You know, like Amy Rose's is going to be like a Britney Spears pop style song. Knuckles has a little bit of hip hop to it, which is weird because in Sonic Adventure 2, he has a full on rap theme.
Which is they have to remember too that like this, when this game came out, I mean, this was in the time where we were just getting to the point where we could have like full, music, not just chip tunes in video games. So, this is still in its infancy of being able to do stuff like that.
Yeah. I remember getting the soundtracks because you had the vocal soundtrack and then you had a 2-disc set with all the zone themes and, like cutscene music and things like that, which I think I might still have at my parents' house. I'm not, I know I've got some of the vocal songs on my Spotify playlists, but the music I would say overall is a highlight. But I do agree that the dubbing was really bad. The character voices didn't really bother me. I mean, would I say Sonic and Knuckles' voices were completely fitting? No. But I wasn't so, like, it didn't take me out of the game, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Let's see here. A lot of people did not like the director's cut port. GameSpot was disappointed the re-release did not address the problems of the original version. Irritated the graphics were only marginally different, which I'll agree with that in the sense that the graphics don't really look all that different. Everything just looks kind of glossy. You know how you have like that glossy type photo paper that has that little bit of shine to it?
Yeah.
That's what the characters' looks remind me of.
Well, IGN called it so fundamentally flawed that it borders on unplayable.
Again, I wouldn't go quite that far.
The
port's not as good, but I still, like, it's not so bad that I couldn't play it.
They said they criticized the lack of widescreen support, but offered minor praise for its steady frame rate. OneUp.com lambasted the port for what they called its slapdash quality, criticized its display controls.
But I mean, overall, this game definitely has its flaws, and I don't think it holds up that well, but I still really enjoy it. I know I've knocked it a little bit for some of its flaws, but what makes up for not the greatest gameplay makes up for a really fun story.
Yeah. Is this the Sonic game that had like actual real people in it, like human characters in like the hub area?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's another thing too, is that this game, and they took this away in Sonic Adventure 2, but this had 3 different hub worlds. It had Station Square, which is basically like New York City. You had the Mystic Ruins, which was like a jungle. And then you had the Egg Carrier, which was Robotnik's giant ship that he unveils about a third of the way through the game. Oh, my only other knock is that I enjoy seeing the story from different characters' points of view, but some of it can be repetitive. So, for example, with Chaos, there are several different phases that he goes through depending on how many emeralds he has.
Yeah.
There's one phase called Chaos 4, where you're basically fighting him in this giant pond because he takes on almost like a fish shape. He encounters Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. So when you play through Sonic's story, you fight Chaos 4. When you play through Tails' story, you fight Chaos 4. When you play through Knuckles' story, you fight Chaos 4. So if you do those 3 stories in a row, it can get kind of repetitive because I remember the order I normally go through is Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Gamma, and Big. By the time I got to Knuckles, I was just ready for the Chaos 4 fight to be over with because it's virtually the exact same thing. So it's but overall, you know, I look past the flaws and I still remember enjoying this game immensely when I was younger and still enjoyed it. You know, I see its flaws now that I'm older and play through it, you know, and giving it an honest review, but I still enjoy it. You know, if you're not really a Sonic fan, I don't think you would enjoy it because of all the technical flaws of it.
Yeah.
But it's got a great story. You know, like I said, it's to me the best story of any of the Sonic games. Sonic Adventure 2 is really good, but I love seeing the story of Sonic Adventure 1. And if you're going to make a Sonic movie, and I wish they would have done this for, you know, instead of what we're going to get in a couple of months.
Yeah.
If you adapted this like straight up into a movie, it would be great.
Yeah.
But overall, I think I would give this game, I got to be honest with it, I would give it probably a solid 7. And that might be... Say again?
So that's not bad.
No, I think that might be a little generous because of the flaws, but to me, the great story makes up for it. So I'd say I'd give it a solid 7. If you're a Sonic fan, chances are you have it in your collection. If you're not, chances are you're not going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Now, I will say as an epilogue, I believe it was the director of this game in December 2018, he expressed interest in remaking Sonic Adventures. So
really?
I know we're going through this whole phase of this game should be remastered or that game should be remastered. If they did a Sonic Adventure remake, improve the graphics, like did a legit upgrade to the graphics, fix the camera flaws, as well as some of the control bugs, it would be a great game. And people would love it.
I'm all for, redoing all these old games, especially ones that should have been great, but were just flawed by, like, you know, kind of bad controls or the, you know, the bad camera movement, which they completely improved with the Resident Evil remake. So I'm all for remaking all these older games. 100%.
Same. Now, and this would be this Banjo-Kazooie. What else would I like to see remastered? I know they did it for the Xbox, but a Conker's Bad Fur Day, like another remake in full HD would be awesome.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Sonic Adventure. I'm sure I'll review Sonic Adventure 2 at some point down the line, that in itself is a really good game, but overall, I think I like Sonic Adventure 1 more.
You should do that for the Sonic the Movie release.
I think I will do that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I like it.
But that brings us to the end of the show. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about before we get out of here tonight?
So I haven't announced this on this show, I don't think. But next weekend, October 4th through the 6th, I will be in Dothan, Alabama at Fanaticon, which is a convention that started back in 2013. Funny enough, I was actually at that convention back in the old Nerd Cave days. And the convention's been kind of dormant for the last couple of years, but it's being essentially rebooted. This is the first one in at least 2 years. So I'm going to be there as a media guest, hopefully getting some good interviews. I know some of the names that will be there Our George Lowe, who voiced Space Ghost in Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Wow.
Roger Bumpus, who's the voice of Squidward and SpongeBob. And the one that I really hope I can get an interview with is Wrestling Hall of Famer Jim Ross.
Oh, dude. That would be awesome.
I know that my show is dedicated to film now, but I would just do that strictly as like a bonus episode.
We might have to put it on this feed, too, as a bonus episode.
Oh, that'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
That's one that I know I'm going to be going up to Dothan that Friday, and I think that's going to be when I'm doing most of the interviews. But it should be a lot of fun. You know, I know there'll be some people that that'll be there that I haven't seen in a while, so it'd be good to catch up with old friends and hopefully make some new ones.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
And then of course, you know, check out the. Oh, go ahead.
Where's Dothan, Alabama?
I know for me, it's about a 2.5 hour drive. Let me look at a map and see exactly where it is or like what it's near.
So is it kind of up north of Mobile?
It is. It's actually more in eastern Alabama.
Oh.
It's, let's see. God, what is it near? It's southeast of Montgomery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's in kind of a weird area of Alabama that I never go to.
Yeah, because I think I've seen the signs for Dothan, Alabama, when I'm going up to visit my brother in Birmingham. So that's why I was like, where is Dothan? I was trying to remember where the hell it was at. I know it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Most of Alabama is.
Yeah, so
no to
that'll be
listeners.
That'll be next weekend. Really excited to do that. And of course, you know, as always, check out the Derek Diamond Experience podcast. A new episode will come out this Thursday. You can follow me on all forms of social media at D Diamond Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
I just want to say, if anybody's in or near the Biloxi area and you want to come watch some comedy, come out to the Wayward Kraken open mic comedy nights on Mondays at 7:30. And me and Mr. Wallace Phelps, the official Nerd Cave Retro fact checker, who hasn't been really doing his job lately, so I guess we must be doing pretty good on our getting our facts straight. But we're both there every Monday night at 7:30. If you got some jokes you want to tell, come out and put your name on the list. We'll let you get up and tell some jokes. And yeah, if you're anywhere near the Biloxi area on Monday nights, come out to the Wayward Kraken in downtown Biloxi on Howard Avenue and hang out with us and tell some jokes.
I'm going to make it out there at some point.
You need to.
Within the next month, I'm going to.
You should. You can stay with me and stay the night, and we'll have some fun.
Sweet.
Go tell some jokes. We'll go get some food. Go get some Waffle House, and we'll play some retro games.
Man, I had Waffle House again the other night,
Oh,
and it
did
was
you?
so good.
Oh,
all I had was
it.
just a waffle, and it hit the spot.
I've been thinking about it every day since then. Like, oh, it's so good. So bad for you, but it's so that's why it's so good, because it's so bad for you.
Yep.
Everything's just made with lard and butter and bacon.
But no regrets.
And grease. It's so good. But yeah, that's our signal to go ahead and get out of here. Let me go ahead and play our music here. If you would like to email us, you can email us at nerdcaveretro@gmail.com. We're at nerdcaveretro.com. We're on Instagram and Twitter at nerdcaveretro, individually at jfunktastic and at Derek_Diamond. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/nerdcaveretro. We're on Patreon at patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. If you can't throw us a couple bucks every month or $1 a month, go leave us a review wherever you listen to the show, wherever fine podcasts are sold, especially on Spotify. We're getting a lot of Spotify listeners now, and I like that. So, Derek, please tell everybody what it's all about.
Wow.
Master Blaster runs Bartertown.
You blew it!
that was a fun show.
Yeah.
And I think our Twitch feed crapped out again, so I'm just going to go ahead and stop the stream. I don't even know if we're streaming, because it says it says we're streaming right now, but it's not on my screen.
Well, it crapped out, and then I refreshed the tab, and it was running again.
See, I tried to refresh it too, but it says there's a network error. So I don't know what's going on. But thank you guys for watching us on Twitch tonight, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.